Thank you, buddy. So hello, everyone. My name is Roy, and for the last 4 years, I've been running an experiment at Google of kind of what's our approach to helping startups around the world. This all started back in Tel Aviv about 5 years ago when we got a bunch of mentors around an idea of how do we bring the best knowledge from Google to help startups. And the first thing we've realized is that the knowledge is in the community and not with Google. So the challenge was, how do we get top professionals to come and help us not only with mentoring startups, which is obvious, but build new programs that can radically change the way we approach working with startups. When we look at what we've built as our assets to date, we've experimented with building our own accelerator, which we've launched 2 years ago. I'll elaborate a little bit more on that, but that's a very new approach to how we run accelerators, considering the existing models that we have. We've also built a space in the middle of San Francisco, which is aimed at creating a bridge between Silicon Valley and the rest of the world. So to date, in the 1 year that we've been running the space, we've had startups and investors from around 126 countries come to work with us in San Francisco. And we basically became their kind of tour guides of the local ecosystem. We provide them with mentorship, we connect them with investors, we connect them with business opportunities, all the package that they need in order to really connect and make the most out of their visit. But we're always looking at how do we make an impact globally? How do we make sure that the knowledge we're creating with our mentors is shared globally and that we learn from different ecosystems around the world? So our mission is one, and we focus our whole program on it, is how do we prove that we've taken a startup from A to B. All of the metrics that we measure ourselves are on startup performance, on how much money they raise, how much revenue they're making, how have they increased their user base. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at almost any spectrum of startups, from PowerPoint through round B and C, always piloting and examining how do we create an impact for them. And the how is, let's sit in a room and work. We've seen a lot of programs in the world that are doing online training, online access to credits and other stuff that you'll see in different companies. Our program believes that if you sit in a room with an entrepreneur, you solve for their challenges, you work with them on their challenges, that's where you're going to create an impact. And the best way for us to scale is just working with accelerators and VCs around the world, and kind of through them working with the different local ecosystems and getting access to these startups. A little bit of the vanity metrics part. We've provided over 120,000 hours of mentorship around the world to date. We have an army of 1,500 mentors in a whole kind of global community that we're managing. And we're operating in over 40 countries around the world. The cool thing of what we've done is positioning our own accelerator at the heart. That's where we actually prove that we can make a difference. And that is a pilot we started 2 years ago, as I've said. And for that accelerator, we've started by hypothesizing, how do we make a difference for emerging markets? How do we break that bridge of, I would say, unfairness between the knowledge and investments being done in Silicon Valley and other locations, and the real need and innovation that's happening in emerging markets? Basically, we woke up and said there's no way that 95% of the innovation in the world is happening in North America. It's happening in the field in emerging markets, and we need to solve for it. So as a pilot, we got a bunch of mentors around, and we told them, if you had the resources, if you could build a program, how would you build it? And for me, as an entrepreneur within Google, 3 years ago, I just had a silly PowerPoint that if you look at it today, you would not believe that that turned into an accelerator. But I shared that idea with mentors. I shared that idea with professionals that we work with, and with them, we start putting the building blocks of what we want to look at. We want to look at round A companies, because we want to have them act fast on the feedback and show and measure what we're doing with them. We also knew that we have to bring the best startups from emerging markets, because this is the kind of the display and the education we're doing in Silicon Valley. You have to show them that the innovation is happening there. You can show them that the opportunities are happening there. And since these are round A companies and very successful ones, we can't really bring them or want to bring them to Silicon Valley for a long time. So we've created a program of a 2-week boot camp in Silicon Valley, and then 6 months work on the ground back in their offices. Speeding up 2 years, we started with 3 countries added. For next class is opening on Monday, with 33 teams coming from 17 countries representing 4 continents, which is our full-blown picture of emerging markets. We've had 78 startups go through the program to date. We've had 3 exits. We've had 1,000+% in revenue, 1,000+% on average increase in user base. And we really managed to learn and educate on the potential of innovation happening in emerging markets. And all of that, thanks to the mentors and the mentor ecosystem that we've built around us. There's no way we could have pulled that off just by ourselves. In addition, we're always experimenting with new programs and new methodologies. And I think the beauty of working with a strong mentor ecosystem around you is that they actually come with the ideas, they come with the feedback, and they come with the new directions that we should take. And that's what enabled us to build a lot of the stuff that we've built. If we pause a little bit and talk about mentor motivation. So one of the things that I've learned is one, obviously, mentors want to be accredited as mentors. They want to be accredited as Google mentors, 500 mentors, doesn't really matter. They want that credit. It builds the validation of what they're doing. But that's day one. That's not going to keep them passionate and supporting your program and appearing again and again for more and more events and activities that you're running. Second thing that they look at is what do they get back from the learning part. The best mentors we found are those who come to learn, not to teach. So a lot of the mentors we are working with are actually fascinated about working in emerging markets. We have 150 mentors in Silicon Valley only, from Uber, Airbnb, Pinterest, Intel, any company that you can think of. They're top professionals. They've built an awesome career. They've scaled products and companies, yet they come humble every day to work with us in the accelerator because they want to learn of the opportunities and the challenges that emerging markets solve for. So the second part is very important, the learning and what they get back. The third part that wasn't easy to do, and it's not easy, especially when you have 1,500 mentors around the world and we're doubling that every year, is how do you create a real partnership or opportunity for them to be involved in your program? Eventually, there's a big Google logo on our program. How do you create a relationship with a mentor that he feels that he's part of it, that he's a partner in this? And the way we do that is by every time, so it's kind of split into 2 parts. And one, every time we have an idea for a new program or an activity, we bring a group of mentors around us, and we start kind of the brainstorming and the building blocks with them. What would you do? How would you build it? What have you learned that was successful and not successful? So happily, we managed to get a lot of them involved, but that doesn't happen at scale, and definitely not with 1,500 mentors. That brought the other channel of how to get them involved, which is teach us. Yeah, we work for Google, we run a program, we don't know what to do, teach us. And what that brought is a lot of the post-mortem, how do we analyze what we've done, what have we learned, how can we improve the program that is run solely by our mentors. They come to us with full reports on this is what we've done last week, this is the program we run with your startups, that's what we've learned from it, and that's where we see the opportunity that is being missed. And when you create that relationship of empowering them and showing them that their feedback is not only heard, but also acted upon, they feel that there is a partnership here. This is not just another regular program of mentorship that they participate in. Now, we do have to remember that in every ecosystem we work around the world, there are many startup programs. Mentors like to be part of as many as they can, but they have very limited time. So when we're building our programs, your programs, we have to make sure that they feel that when they're spending their time with us, that is the best use of their time. So they deprioritize the rest and really give the effort here. Not wanting to complicate things too much, but when we looked at the accelerator model and we're looking at new activities that we want to do around AI and machine learning and other opportunities that are out there, we look at that model of accelerator and we look at where can that evolve. And the biggest challenge we found, and I'm sharing it with you, is that mentorship is great. I can talk to you about your challenges, I can analyze your product, needs, what you're doing. And that's a very good session. Some accelerators manage to do that on a prolonged basis, so the mentor actually follows up and makes sure that things are done. But what we're learning is that that's not enough. For startups to really be successful, and if you really want to put your energy in making them successful, we see a big switch from mentorship to services. How do we help you hand in hand build things rather than just give you feedback on what works and what doesn't and what you need to do? So that creates a multiplier of challenges when you're looking at the limited time mentors have to work with you. How do you create a situation where they're becoming a partner with the startup that they're working with and actually providing services? Usually some of these mentors are being paid for what they do on a daily basis. Usually they have that 1 day a week that they can spend, which is a lot. But we see that the need here is to actually help startups build new stuff, build new solutions and new features, and the mentorship structure is not good enough for that. And that's kind of part of the challenges that I'm inviting you to talk with me later on trying to solve. We work, as I've said, with accelerators and with VCs around the world. We have about 400 investors that are working with us. And I want you to look at our program eventually as an opportunity. Yes, we're based in Silicon Valley. Yes, we're global and sharing the knowledge and creating bridge of knowledge between locations. But we're always as good as the partners that work with us, and we feel we need to empower partners. We don't open regular accelerators. At least from my team's perspective, we don't do investments. We basically open our pipeline to every investor that works with us so they can see the opportunities. And we measure ourselves on that success. So any investment made in our portfolios, any investment made in the startup that we're working with is our success. So I'm basically inviting you, grab me later, if you want to learn more about the program, if you want to see how you can use what we're doing for the benefit of what you're running, we'd love to have you, we'd love to collaborate, we'd love to work together. And at the end of the day, yeah, it's all about, from our perspective, it's all about how many startups around the world were we able to help and also show what help actually accomplished. Meaning what kind of performance were they able to get post the program, post the activities that we are running. So thank you very much for your time, and I'm here just to talk with anyone. Thank you very much.